Anandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrusham Tattvamasya Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Nithyanandam. We welcome all the viewers of Nithyananda TV and Kailasa TV and all the viewers who are watching us to the Vakyartha Sadhas today before we watch and attend to the Satsang of Swamiji. We have been having deep conversation and contemplation on the revelations that Swamiji has been giving in the Satsangs, and he has asked us to look deeper into us and he has been giving us more revelations about Kailasa and how we can all come together and make Kailasa happen. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasanidanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagavan, Shri Nithyananda Paramashivam, has taken the enormous task to create the only Hindu nation, Shri Kailasa, as part of his mission to revive Sanatana Hindu Dharma. Swamiji has shared, just like the Jewish people have created Israel, and no matter if they live in Israel or not, all over the world, all the Jews support Israel, its cause, as the center, as the seed bank of their tradition. The same way, Bhagavan is envisioning Shri Kailasa to be the seed bank of Hinduism, to revive Sanatana Hindu Dharma. He has asked us to do immense Vakyartha Sadhas and let us for ourselves to come and get to know deeper into how to make the Sri Kailas nation happen. As part of the revival of Sri Kailasa nation in Hinduism, Swamiji has introduced the Vakyartha Sadhas to all of us, an important aspect unique only to Hinduism. This is how Vakyartha Sadhas is the process of imbibing any truth. The first 25% of imbibing the truth happens when you listen to it from the Guru. In deep Shravana, in deep listening, in a deep Upanishad, if you are sitting in front of the Guru, tremendous knowledge is imbibed. As the knowledge is imbibed, this 25% of imbibing the truth manifests by just sitting at the feet of the Guru. The next second 25% of imbibing the truth happens when you contemplate and do the manna, internalization. When you look in and take the words of the Guru and let them define them in the way that you understand and redefine them to the way the Guru, because Swamiji goes on repeating the words that he says, and it comes to you in a different way. And by the end of the satsang, he would have told the essence of it, the whole satsang, in the same words he started with, but the whole understanding is different. Swamiji, whenever he delivers his satsangs, gives a complete truth. And as you chew on these words, literally chew on these words, the entire satsang, the entire message from Paramashiva comes into a clear understanding of truth inside you. So that is the second 25% of imbibing the truth. The third 25% happens when you have Vakyartha Sadhas or Vadi Prativada, debate. When you express your express how you don't or you do or you don't understand something that Swamiji is saying, or you express that this one point I need to understand deeper how it applies to my life. So when you do the Vakyartha Sadhas between people, Vakyartha Sadhas is a discussion that happens between people for the goal of enlightening each other, for the goal of progressing each other towards again coming back to the space of listening to the Guru, to the space of imbibing this truth and making it something that is practical and living in someone's life. So that is the goal of Vakyartha Sadhas. It is not just just an open discussion. Yes, of course it is. But from that, how do we? The conversation has to be with action. How do we take what we're learning and apply it sincerely in our lives? So when we do the Vakyartha Sadhas, Swamiji says that the third 25% of imbibing the truth happens, and the fourth 25% of imbibing the truth happens when you live these principles in your life. That complete knowledge happens when you live these truths in your life. And beautifully, we have been having Vakyartha Sadhas for the past few days and imbibing and chewing on the truths that Swamiji is revealing about the reality of Hindus in the world, about the reality of how Hinduism is almost is actually very minimalized, and how Hindus are living in the world. So let us learn more about that here. And let us learn a little bit more about the context that Swamiji himself says about why Vakyartha Sadhas.
Listen, listen. Manana, Vakyartha Sadhas every day will give you a complete understanding. Not only that, please listen, every time when you keep these spiritual truths in your inner space, analyze them, think about them, contemplate on them, every moment you spend on intra-analyzing these great truths, your incompletions melt down, you are living Advaita. Understand how much ever you struggle to find the solution externally, you will never find. You will never find the solution. What you expect externally. If you think, I'll finish all the work, I took it on myself or Swamiji gave it to me, and then I'll rest in peace. Never. Even after you leave the body, we have work for you. Understand, if you are expecting the external solution, no. You need to be told you are a fool. Wherever you really need to be told you are a fool, you should be told that is the real good thing for you. If you have some disease, you need to be told you have that disease. Only then you will understand the seriousness and start taking medication. Manana, intra-analyzing is really, really, really important. Because the life gets aligned to living Advaita with Manana. Shankara says beautifully, Shrute Shatagunam Vidyan Mananam Mananat Abhinitidyasanam Lakshagunam Anantam Nirvigalpam. The meaning is manana is 100 times superior to Shravana. Internalizing is 100 times superior to listening, and living is 100 times superior to internalizing. Nirvigalpa Samadhi, living Advaita, is infinitely superior.
So let us get into the Vakyartha Sadhas today. Let us understand what has Swamiji asked us to look into. Hindus are a minority, either factually or actually. If you are in a nation where factually Hindus are a minority, or actually, or in a nation where Hindus are actually a minority, either way, Hindus are a minority. Hinduism is the third largest religion practiced worldwide, but not a single country we are actually a majority. So we have, as Swamiji has been saying, no political legitimacy. And that is very important to what Swamiji is saying, so that we can have a future, Hinduism can have a future. Political legitimacy is the having the sovereign land, having the space where this religion can be practiced, and it is the governing body, and its principles are the governing body of that particular land, and that is the um, political legitimacy, and even the economic legitimacy Swamiji is also trying to bring. And now Swamiji is asking us to bring their attention to why Sri Kailasa is important to have. Let us learn little facts about Hindus and Hinduism. Hinduism is the greatest science of life, absolute life positive. Fundamentally, Hindus don't believe in conversion and terrorism. All around the world, Hindus have proved themselves to be the most contributing communities wherever they settle. The Indian constitution is secular only to Hindus, means it does not it allows the separation of church and state, but it's exclusively only to Hindus, and it's very much more favorable to the uh, laws, and it's not as secular when it comes to dealing with other supposed minority religions in the country. From Paramashiva to our rishis, who have given this super conscious based lifestyle for all of us, we are responsible to pass this great science for the next generation. We do not have the right to destroy what our masters have left us. This is a right context when it comes to passing on. So Swamiji is bringing out is that we have had we had in the previous Vakyartha Sadhas an understanding that it is not just to preserve a temple just because it's a monument, but to preserve the temple because it is a power manifesting science that Swamiji has told us. He says the Tanjore temple is not just a big monument that needs to be preserved in a museum or like a relic. It is a living power manifesting science. And that is the context with which Swamiji has told us to take up the preservation of Hinduism. And then making temples is great, but not enough. Ecosystem is required for the survival of this great science. And we have seen that people feel that to keep their heritage alive, they need to go on making temples. And we have seen the NRIs of Hinduism go out and go non-residential Indians take Hinduism and decide that temple is a place that they will congregate every Sunday and have practice a religion and heritage. But we have also seen how doing so has not created any benefit for the Hindus in the future. The younger generation does not feel any way connected to the traditions and the meaning of the tradition. Rather, they feel it is an obligation and a burden on their shoulders that they just have to upkeep just because it has been upkept by their parents. There's more like an upkeep of the tradition rather than an actual implementation and living the lifestyle. Hence, a place where the lifestyle is lived is only the ecosystem, where it provides solutions for your life, for your everyday, day-to-day life. The religion and the practice and the spiritual depth that Hinduism can give is what is the gives you solutions and a different way of outlook of your life. Your whole life is transformed with the practice of the Hinduism. Hinduism is like an ecosystem is required for the survival of this great science, and Swamiji is again and again emphasizing an ecosystem is required, and he has established so many Sarvajnapitas and proving how an ecosystem will maintain. Every temple is a temple, has the deities, but an ecosystem is there for the bhakti of the temple, for keeping the deities energy worshipped continuously and keeping the sacred sentiments alive for the deity. 57% of Hindus never participate in religious activity. Religious activity is not an obligation nor something you need to participate in the namesake of religion. Religious activity for Hindus is a spiritual depth, is a meditation practice in itself, it's a yoga practice in itself. How people practice meditation for the benefit of themselves, for peace and serenity. How people practice yoga for the body and the physical benefit. The same way, the spiritual benefit and the deep cognitive benefit of religious practices in Hinduism is there, especially when it comes for one's personal relationship with the divine. With Kailasa being built, we have a promise of the Veda Agamas are going to be the constitution that run the whole nation. Dharma Shastras become the jurisprudence, means the way that the courts and the legal system is created. Manusmriti and Arthashastras are the economic principles. Fair and opportunistic economic principles are both there in the Manusmriti that we are going to bring out and practice in Sri Kailasa. Hindu universities and libraries acts as storehouses for this knowledge, authentic knowledge, and our repositories and transmission units. Our universities are not just books and storehouses of books, but they are also transmission units where power manifestation science is developed and practiced and radiated by many people for the benefit of the world itself. Preservation and promotion of Hindu medicine. Hindu medicine has benefited so many, and it has made a big impact in the world in the form of Ayurveda and various other forms that are natural and very holistic. Preservation and promotion of that is a promise where Sri Kailasa will do this. Culturally, medically, economically, socially, politically, in every field, the Hindu heritage needs to be preserved and revive whatever has been lost. Lost from practice and almost lost from our eyes. Before it disappears fully, before the books are burnt off, let us make an action. Kailasa needs to be built wherever you are to keep Hinduism alive. Is Swamiji's message. So over the course of yesterday's Vakyartha Sadhas, we discussed about the NRI Hindus, the Hindus who are outside India, how they feel a little ashamed and shy and embarrassed about their religion, primarily because of the lack of knowledge about their culture, and without a forum for them to open up and share their fundamental questions with everyone. Fundamental questions are there for everyone in many people's lives. Even asking those fundamental questions for themselves helps solve a lot of issues in their lives, in the questioning of things. And Swamiji always encourages questioning. So, from the fundamental questions being reiterated and being kindled inside the people to bring up their seeking, we must be able to share the depth of the knowledge of Hinduism to end one and all through the message of Swamiji, and make people be proud of the Hinduism, practice it, and live it in their lives. Whatever may be the causes of these, the solution is the same, where they need to be enriched and given the correct understanding of the whys and hows of Hinduism. So that is why we are there as an ecosystem to provide the answers to the whys and hows of people. But first, we must ask someone the question itself, fundamental questions. So today's Vakyartha Sadhas we come to. If you had to go and enrich a friend right now, give them the correct cognitions and the reason for why the Kailasa nation is needed, what would you do? So I'll just start off the conversation here. Before we start this Vakyartha Sadhas, of course, we have a panel of devotees all around the world who have joined us, taking their time out of their busy schedules. So let us move to the panelists and have them also introduce themselves and give a few words about what would they do as a first initial step or a breakthrough way to talk to a friend about the importance of Shri Kailasa. So we have here Shri Nithyananda, Shri Nithya Astoshananda, Renation Edmund, Murli Ayya, and Purushot. I welcome you all. Nithyananda, thank you for joining us today. And we can start with Murli Ayya. Ayya, go ahead and share a little bit about yourself, your professional background, when you met Swamiji, and how you would go about today talking about Sri Kailasa to somebody. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. Am I audible? Am I audible? Okay. This is Murali from Chennai. I'm a teacher and a trainer by profile. I met Swamiji way back in 2013 in an inner awakening program. It was my brother who sent me to Swamiji, and at that time I thought I was very highly intelligent, very profoundly intellectual, and very logical. Nothing could ever shake me, and it was somebody else who was at fault for whatever I'm going through. My brother told me just one statement, and it still rings very profound in me. It is, stop asking questions if you want to get answers. I didn't understand what that meant. And as a way of explaining that in other words, Swamiji always emphasized when I went to him on listening. So that is when I realized what he meant when he said, don't ask questions if you want to get answers. So from then on, it's been a very memorable, pleasant, sweet, exciting journey with Swamiji because I had experienced a lot of miracles. And the way he talks to me, even without physically being near me, like I always get answers in his voice whenever I had any questions. So it was very sweet. Many miracles have happened. Many changes have happened in my life. And I came to realize that what was lacking in my life was something called spiritual strength. Maybe I had my mental strength or emotional strength and logic and all that. But how important spiritual strength was, it is something that I learned only because of the presence of Swamiji. And thanks to my brother and thanks to Swamiji for making me know this because it is really profound and I don't know where I would have been, what I would have done without all these things happening in my life. Because now when I look back, I thought, now I'm able to see that I was utterly directionless, meaningless, aimless, and all that. And as Swamiji puts it, Guru before life, life before Guru may be logical, but life after Guru is magical. And there is no mere punchline. It is actually an experience for me. And I wish everybody around experiences this. Because many things in my life I had learned only because of the principles that I had learned in Awakening. I saw many possibilities manifest through me, which I would not have been able to do if I had relied only on my logic and intellectuality. In fact, my logic and intellectuality, I realized, was a very, very narrow, shallow context from which you should see life. And there's a whole world out there that is way beyond all this human logic, is what I came to understand. And I'm not able to see myself going back to that zone where I was so logical and intellectual. I'm now able to see only the bigger picture, larger picture. And thanks to Swamiji for that. So I think this much of telling about me as of now is enough. Let me come to answer the question, why Kailasa? See, in one sentence, if I have to answer this, as a practicing Hindu, or rather as a made to practice Hinduism person through Swamiji, I will say that any life positive happening, anything that happens in your favor is because of the divine. How I'm able to see this? See, in one way, there are a few people in my life who had got converted, who have gone away from Hinduism and calling some Abrahamic faiths as ultimate, and their God is ultimate and all that. While they might have got some blessings, it's not about comparison between which God is greater. It's about the thought current. It's about the basis from which you look at life. The way in which you look at life that matters is what I've come to understand. So in Hinduism, we don't intend to objectify God. We don't want to say that only we have the true God. Anything that happens in your favor, anything that is life positive for you, happens only because that true divine, whoever it or he or she is in your favor, is watching you and blesses you. A true divine will not depend on you to pray to him. It depends only on your actual eligibility, and that has nothing to do with whether you pray or not. If that intelligence decides that you are eligible for something, it will immediately grant it. It will not wait for you to pray before it decides that you should give it. You will be given that. This is what I understand from what I have been listening to Swamiji all these years. Your prayer only enhances the feeling that it is near. It is not actually making the divine turn to you. The divine is anyway watching you. So why Kailasa? This is what. And today we find many cinema houses, politicians bashing Hinduism left and right with the cheap intention, cheap motive of appeasing the so-called minorities. When they bash Hinduism, they think the minorities will appease, the minorities will like them, because their faiths teach that only theirs is the ultimate way to God. Theirs is the ultimate God. And they think they can win these votes like that. And as far as cinema is concerned, it is good. It sells well. If you bash Hinduism, it sells well. Because there are many people who are born Hindu but are actually living anti-Hinduism way of life. In the name of questioning, see, Hinduism always allows questioning, but in the name of questioning, all people do is just ridicule. Even in the last 1 or 2 days, I have been arguing with somebody on Facebook. They said, like, accept this, you have been defeated. You never do that. So it's about their defeating. They really don't want to learn anything, know anything. They think that in the name of questioning, they can talk any ridicule, they can talk any abusing words. So Kailasa is actually one benchmark, I will say, because it is a completely Hindu nation. Swamiji wanted a nation for fully practicing Hindus because he wanted to set a benchmark about what Hinduism is. And that too he is doing based on voting system. So it's ultimately peace-loving, ultimately non-violent, and what we need to practice, because we don't intend to please any God for any afterlife, because we are already been here. We are always here. At the most, we will come back, we will manifest in a different form. That's why we call as multiple birth. So why? So when we want to set a benchmark for what is true Hinduism in its true intensity, in its largest, best, most useful, sweetest dimension. So when Swamiji says saving Hinduism is saving humanity, it is not that he is just batting for one religion while others are batting for some others. We actually are universal. How exactly this is? How exactly we call ourselves as universal? Only when when we are allowed to practice it in its best dimension, we can even show the world. But that ambience is not available as of now anywhere else than Kailasa. So if you set this benchmark, you can even say that, okay, you are blaspheming us. As of now, we don't have anything. This concept of blaspheming is not there in Hinduism, but we are forced to bring it just to keep certain elements in check from what they are doing to Hinduism. So this is what I will say as why Kailasa. So this itself, I think, is a very broad answer, and it will help many people understand many things in their own way, is what I feel. Because Hinduism is not about just one book wherein the supreme intelligence, by whatever name it is called, has dictated something about what one must do and what one must not do. It is not just a set of do don't book, a book of do don't. It is a way of having some cognition. It's a way of looking at certain phenomena that are happening. What is cognition? This word seems to be misunderstood by these contacts of mind as okay. We call belief, you call cognition. No, cognition. It's not like that. Cognition means the way of looking at it, the way of understanding it. So how you understand something when you look at something wrong, when you look at something as unacceptable to the divine. In Hinduism, see, there's one more point which Swamiji had said. Hinduism is a solution-based civilization. Means when you do something wrong, even when you do a puja, there is something called Prayaschitta mantra. That means we are praying to that supreme intelligence, saying, if there is any mistake in the way I had pronounced the mantras, or I had done some action wrong in the ritual, or if there is any deviation in my devotion to you when I'm doing if I had concentrated on something else, even for a small moment, let me complete with that. Let me say that I did not intend that. So please accept me wholeheartedly. We pray like that. This means we are not interested in nursing guilt inside us. We want to be just free from any sort of negative feeling, and we are ultimately solution providing. In the name of solution providing, these Abrahamic faiths do nothing more than just give one faith pillar who is expected to forgive you for all these things after you die. Now, this is not inspiring. If you ask me why Kailasa, I'll say even this. That is not inspiring for me. I want to see some benefit here. I want to see some benefit now. So if the entirety of the present of what I do now and how I believe now, everything is going to be dependent on an entire future, that is not inspiring enough. So we want to live our life blissful. And so again, this is not just a comparison point. How I think this is better, how I think this is more blissful is this is what will inspire more and more people to live the kind of life what you bat for. When you say that this is going to give you ultimate blessing, God is going to keep you with Him in heaven and all that, the more you talk of only the future points, the more it is like only faith. The more I see some benefits right here now itself, the more it is inspirational and make people come to you. So that is what is Kailasa. See the kind of benefit we get. And benefit doesn't mean only getting more money, living in a bigger house, having 2 or 3 more cars. And it is not just material benefit. See the kind of bliss we enjoy. Whether we have money or not, we are always sharing. Whether we have a big house or not, we can always accommodate you in the little place that we live in. And that is what is ultimate joy. Sharing and caring, we are always ready to give you. If only material comfort is ultimate, then any rich person is the most blessed. But will you subscribe to that view? Now, even those people you are criticizing, I once heard some pastor argue debating. He's saying, uh, "Will Ambani be able to spend half an hour with his wife? Does he have time for that? What is the use of all his wealth?" So I will say this is all a blind spot. In one way, you're saying like this. In the other way, you're saying like this. One way, you're looking at riches as blessing. In the other way, you're saying like that also. So what is it? So where is the connection? So it doesn't seem there seem to be a lot of blind spots in the way you understand, you look at life. So Kailasa is one place where we want to look at all dimensions of life and tell you what anything needs to be done so that you live your life fully. Everything, right from childbirth till death, last rites, till yoga, health, education, every dimension of life is taken care of in Kailasa. And if you are able to think through, if you are able to live, you are able to see yourself in that ambience, you will see that everything stems from the same context. Ultimately, we want to do only something. So Kailasa is a complete ecosystem. It's a complete way of life. We actually want to benchmark to the world what we mean when we say Hinduism is a way of life. It is not about do and don't. We want to show to the world what it is. And Swamiji is doing a wonderful job, marvelous job in instituting Kailasa that way. And we are unable to do this anywhere else because of the so-called legal issues, political issues, and other such forces which actually are content to live a kind of life that is just materially great. What exactly is meant by that spiritual way of lifestyle? What is Hinduism in its largest dimension? We have to show to the world, and that is why Kailasa is needed. What is the best thing that can happen to life? That is, or in life, not even to life, in life, whatever proposition you want to use. What is the best thing that can happen? If you want to know, then see Kailasa. We want to show something like that without the influence of any negative elements, anti-Hindu elements. What is the best thing? See, we always talk about Hindu saints living a great glorified life. The more and more you talk about only past, the more and more you make it look like just a belief. And when these anti-Hindu elements, when these Abraham faith elements are so confident about how blissfully they can become by just glorifying one person or one event in the history, why can't we, who glorify so many events in history, who glorify so many gods, who glorify so many deities, so many saints, make that happen even today and show to the world how great things can become, what things can become if we practice Hinduism in its entirety? The answer is Kailasa. So this is what I think I will say. Any other further points if I remember, we will add later. Thank you, Maharaj.
Yes, yeah. Thank you, yeah. Thank you for also giving a perspective, especially in the Indian context, about how Hindus experience Hinduism in India, and how you can go about having a conversation with somebody and enriching a friend with the correct cognitions and the correct reasons why Kailasha nation is needed. With that, we can go on. Shri Atma, go ahead and share your powerful cognitions and reasons why Shri Kailasa is needed, and how you'd go about enriching a friend of yours, Nithyananda.
Nithyananda Maharaj, thank you, Nithyananda. Privileged to be here. Yes, my name is Sri Nithyananda from Canada. I grew up playing ice hockey mostly and various sports, and became an elementary school teacher and a computer engineering technologist, and wanted to get more of life and started meditating and searching and found about Swamiji in 2008 on YouTube and got my life solution that I'd been searching for a decade in 2009 during Inner Awakening. and was blessed to be initiated into the path of Brahmacharya in 2015, and have spent most of the last 8 years full-time in the spiritual living life, experiencing the life of sannyas. Yeah, as far as why Kailasa is needed, actually we had a really interesting discussion earlier today with Rainoshan and Purusoth. We were speaking about youth, NRIs, non-residential Indians, and people of basically Hindu ancestry living in places where Hinduism is more of a rarity. And we were talking about the challenges that youth faces and why it's difficult, and what the challenges that we face, and difficulties in living the tradition around the world. And one of the big things we came up to is that, yeah, it's not, in a lot of places, it's not the normal, usual thing. It's not the normal, usual where everyone is doing it, everyone is supporting it. So we kind of felt like, kind of like the sore thumb sticking out. And so kind of like everyone is sort of pointing at you or making fun of you. And so there was, we shared like even growing up, I mean, as a hockey player in Canada, actually, then I went to Toronto, a big hockey center, and I was dressed as a Hindu monk. I felt actually a lot of conflict, and I had to compete with that. Anyway, what we shared was that we shared in this from the perspective of youth. What youth face a lot is ridicule, like, oh, you guys worship animals, and not sure how to respond to that. Or another thing we shared about was that Purusoth was specifically sharing about was that people make fun of the way you dress. Like if you wear a dhoti instead of pants and a whatever, then people are going to notice that. And so from a child's perspective, when you're a young kid, you know, and other kids, you know, as kids are making fun of what you're wearing. Or another thing was curry, the smell of curry, and Hindus being made fun of because of the smell of their food or the smell of curry. Or why are you wearing that red dot, or why did your mother always wear that dress? And just simple things like that, and kids teasing kids, you know, making fun of the way that their family speaks, or the clothes that they wear, the food that they eat, and the food smells. Just simple things that are kind of unavoidable. And so we really got it down to this sort of issue of, yes, so what's going on is the Hindu kids can't grow up in a place that is protecting them. So so when a Hindu child is being attacked because of these basic ways of life that are many thousands of years old, older than any other civilization that's living today, actually, the only provable, sustainable way for humans to live, actually, but it gets ridiculed in the unconscious, so-called regular way of living. And those traditions have no protection because there's no laws to protect them. There's no, and even in the sense that Hindu ecosystem is not set up to teach this kind of thing. So people are not taught Ayurvedic ways of living. They're not taught why you wear the energetic dhotis that help with the flow of energy in your body. They're not taught why kumkum cleans fluoride and calcification from your pineal gland. And they're not taught that the sari is the proven most spiritually energetic way of dressing. So these kind of things, and that, you know, from the space of oneness, animals and everything else is an opportunity for us to express consciousness. So the basic kind of thing we realized is that because the society is living in a space of unconsciousness or low consciousness, but it's not educated towards the principles of high consciousness, that the ways of life that are based from high consciousness are not protected. and preserved. So naturally, children running around, they'll say all kinds of things. And if those children are not educated towards higher consciousness, then they'll take on the other things, whatever's around them, the violence in society, the sex on TV, the way that comedians make fun of each other on TV, the prank channels, the outrageous things that people do on YouTube. That's what people will do, what they see. So kids teasing kids, there's no protection for a Hindu child. And it's innocent attack from one child that happens amongst all children, but because there's no Hindu ecosystem to educate it and protect, that child's life gets destroyed because subconsciously they decide, like Paramashivoham shared, that he wasn't comfortable wearing a dhoti. And I asked him why, and he said, I don't know. And he was able to come up with a memory from school where he was wearing just a shirt. It was just like a regular collared shirt, not a religious shirt, not a spiritual shirt, not a dhoti, not a kurta, just some kind of a shirt with a design. And he got made fun of because of that shirt. And so from that, the child understood there's certain ways I shouldn't dress that I'll get made fun of for. And so he extended that to, if I wear this dhoti, they make fun of me. Although he likes wearing the dhoti and appreciates it, he unconsciously built this reluctancy to living Hinduism. So this was a very simple and very clear thing that we came across, that just the regular interactions of children and making fun of each other and calling each other names, because that sort of society is perpetually unconscious and there's not a protection for the Hindu child to grow and for that consciousness to grow without that ridicule and educated towards higher consciousness. Just by that definition, being in that deep unconsciousness of society, the Hindu child's life gets destroyed. Not because they wanted to, not because they don't like Hinduism, not because they're not educated, not because they don't have experience, because there's no ecosystem to support and protect them. So we had this beautiful discussion how just even teasing, just one child teasing another child in some corner of a gymnasium during lunchtime, oh, your food smells like this, and then calling them, oh, curry boy, just that innocent thing, and not the education behind it, not the protection of the civilization, just destroys their life because they're perpetually unconsciously against Hindu practices. So I'll just keep it at that. But we had this very beautiful sharing today that how just these innocent things, because there's no Hindu ecosystem, because children will be children and they will manifest. They're born enlightened, but they need to be matured to manifest that fully. So that ecosystem is needed. And the unconscious ecosystem that's influenced by the Vaishyas co-opting the food system and marketing and media monsters and whatnot, then the children will follow that. We need a way to protect and nurture that Hindu child who wants to learn and live, but is destroyed by unconscious society.
Thank you, Shri Atma. You have opened up a new way of looking at this whole question, and it's very enriching to hear how the discussion has with you and the youth have brought out the actual struggles where actually Hinduism is not giving a solution, where they are not able to find the solution to Hinduism. The ecosystem is not, the ecosystem they have does not support the questions they have. How do they answer the questions, and how do they even handle even teasing? How do they even handle that? How do you handle that powerfully? That also must be how do you connect with others, and how do you, because no matter what, anybody in their life, in their childhood, will be teased, will be bullied. It's a part of life. How Hinduism tells you to handle that, how you handle that, and then how you also handle that, be able to give back a correct answer and have the powerful context. So yes, Sri Kailasa, and wherever, as Kailasa is an e-nation, wherever we are, we practice Hinduism, we practice the lifestyle of Sri Kailasa. So providing these solutions right now is very important. Yes, Nithyananda. Just wanted to thank Yeshwin Anatma for what he shared, and if Purushot, if you can also share a little bit more about that conversation that you had with Shri Atma and Ranashan, and what you came to understand, if anything. And also, welcome and little introduction about yourself, how you are connected with Swamiji. Thank you for joining.
Nithyananda, my name is Prashant and I'm from Toronto, Canada. I've been connected with Paramahamsa Sri Nithyananda for the past 12 years through my mom, is how I got to know him. And the conversation I was having about with Sri Nithyananda is how Hindu youth are affected through teasing, bullying, and them not understanding what in Hinduism is causes them to get away from Hinduism and follow other things. So if they can learn more about Hinduism and the benefits of Hinduism, like the Ayurvedic, the yoga, the food benefits of Hinduism, they'll get to understand Hinduism more, and they will actually live the Hindu life to the fullest. Thank you, Nithyananda.
Thank you for sharing, and it's good to hear how you understood from that conversation, how the more understanding, more knowledge will definitely help someone be able to have strength in Hinduism, has strength in their own faith. And from my life also, I just wanted to give a quick example. I have seen, I have myself been teased back from, I grew up doing middle school and high school in Seattle, Washington, in US. And I remember having an experience by accidentally wearing vibhuti on my forehead and going to school. People will ask, what is that white powder on my head? There's no way you can give a 2-second answer to that question. Because that question itself is a 2-second question. How do you give a 2-second answer? Then, I don't know. That requires maybe a person to have a personality. What kind of a personality do you want to pick up? Do you want to be able to, the 2-second answer is, this is the way I like, this is a part of my religion, or it is a part of my daily worship, or it is something I wear, what's wrong with it? Without being offensive or without being, turning it into anger or turning it into a violence. Even just ability to have a quick response is something that is, gives somebody confidence. Even if it is just the way I am. There's nothing wrong. I hope there's nothing wrong with it. Does it offend you in any way? I'm sorry. Quick response. It helps somebody have a person know that have a confidence in themselves that they will be able to answer that question. And even like what happens if I'm wearing vibhuti, I may unconsciously wear. Then if I'm wearing vibhuti in the morning and going to school and knowing that I'll have some answers to this question, if somebody asks what's on your forehead, I'll just say it is the way I worship my God, or it is the symbol. It is a symbol of my religion. Like that, you can answer. When it comes to vibhuti wearing, it is very much deeper and a lot more, it has a deeper significance that I can explain to you later. But if you have the time, and that way you can also expand on the conversation. It'll make it more enriching. If you are wearing vibhuti and you are wearing something like this, is an opportunity for you to enrich somebody about Kailasa, about Swamiji, about Hinduism. So if you're interested in a longer conversation, I can really explain it. I really like wearing it, and I enjoy representing my religion because it's very meaningful for me, and I don't want to be afraid to show it. Showing that somebody is not afraid is also a strength. So with that, thank you, Purushot, for joining us today. Would like to hand over to Ranashan. Go ahead and a little introduction about yourself and your answer to the question about why Sri Kailasa, and how would you go about enriching a friend right now with the correct cognitions. Go ahead. Thank you.
Yes. Nithyananda. My name is Ranashan and I'm from Toronto, Canada. I studied software engineering and a little bit of medicine, and I got to know Swamiji around 2013. And so this question of why is Sri Kailasa needed? Why is it a necessity? And how to go about enriching others about Sri Kailasa. See, actually, obviously, this is a huge question. It's like Swamiji sharing, there's like more, like there's like 1,008 reasons why Kailasa. And just one of these reasons I can share is Kailasa is the very embodiment of Hinduism. It's literally Maha Kailasa, manifesting in Bhu Mandala, which means whatever we know as the world. And then now Kailasa is this Kailasa manifesting also digitally. So no matter where you are, even if you landed on planet Earth somehow, and now even if you're on planet Earth, even if you just have any device, it could be a phone, it could be a laptop, computer, it could be anything. Kailasa coming to you. Okay, so this is one. Now, what is Kailasa? Kailasa, how I cognize this is Kailasa is a Hindu ecosystem. Hindu means what? It's the native lifestyle. The native lifestyle, it's this lifestyle where if you completely drop all the societal patterns, drop all the delusion, drop whatever you think is life, and then just live life as it is, really seeing life as it is and living life as it is. This lifestyle, this ecosystem is Kailasa. And from this, all the sampradayas are born, all the shanmadas, all the different ecosystems, all the different temple sciences, the power manifestation sciences, the Gurukul system, the agriculture sciences, different expressions of life are born through this Hindu ecosystem, through seeing life as it is. From there is born all these things. From there is actually, I can say, Paramashiva speaking life as it is. Paramashiva's very expression of love is Kailasa. Hinduism is Paramashiva saying, I love you. And then Kailasa is just a grand expression of this. And now, how to go about reaching this out? Because obviously, if we share this to somebody who has no idea about Hinduism, they'll be like, okay, sure, okay, great. You do your thing. But really, Kailasa is also, it's not just this, it's a life solution. No matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what kind of person you are, no matter what your life goals are, no matter what you feel as life or what you want as life, Kailasa is a catalyst. It's an enlightenment catalyst. Because always in every being, there's the Paramashivatva. Paramashiva is there in every being, not just human beings, but in every being. And so Kailasa is like a catalyst. It's like almost like an incubator. We're just being exposed to the incubator, just being exposed to the catalyst. When the catalyst enters the system, then the whole process of the Paramashivatva, the experience of superconsciousness itself, completely accelerates. And I feel the best way to really reach this out is Kailasa's e-services. Because no matter what kind of person you are, no matter where you're coming from, especially during this COVID pandemic, especially during this lockdown, there's a lot of people having a lot of trouble finding life solutions, especially this thing of how to handle themselves, how to handle relationships, how to handle wealth, how to handle end-to-end, all these things. If everybody's looking for some solution. Kailasa, no matter where you are, no matter what kind of person you are, has a solution. It could be through the Unclutching sessions. It could be through the wealth sessions. It could be the power manifestation sessions. We have the Paramashivoham level 2 seasons going again and again and again to make sure everybody has the enlightenment sides completely available to them. We have the upcoming Paramashivoham session with Swamiji. We have now the Ganas projects, the Kailasa projects, so many different ways. Even on the global issue aspect, we have the saffron Om, we have the red Om, we have the yellow Om, we have the blue Om, we have the white Om. And there's one more Om, I'm avoiding to remember what color is the last one, but all these different things aimed at things like the food crisis, aimed at environmental protection, aimed at animal protection, all these different global issues. So both on the global issue level and the personal issue level, end-to-end, Kailasa is offering solution. Hinduism is completely life positive and contribution based. Whether it's long-term, whether it's looking for the long-term solution of finally enlightenment, or even short-term solution of where to find your next meal. end to end, Kailasa's e-services are there for you. And just being exposed to these Kailasa e-services, it's literally like a portal to Kailasa, because Kailasa is what? Maha Kailasa, manifesting in Bhu Mandala, expressing also digitally. Which means even if you're involved in any of the e-services, it's a direct connection, two-way connection with Maha Kailasa. It's a direct two-way connection with literally Paramashiva. Automatically the catalyst starts to happen, the seeking starts to happen. The Paramashivatva, really recognizing the Paramashivatva. The ecosystem of Paramashiva literally awakens the Paramashivatva. So this, I feel, is one of the best ways we can share, but really go out about enriching others about Kailasa, is by sharing the e-services, really listening to their problems, really coming into the listening space, okay, seeing, okay, what is going on? What is the problem? How can we contribute? Whether it's a global issue or a personal issue, how can we contribute? You have a relationship problem? No problem. We have solution. You have wealth problem? No problem. We have solution. You don't know where to find your next meal? No problem. We have solution. You need something to do? No problem. We have solution. You want to address the global issues of economic crisis, the environmental crisis, the poverty crisis? We have solution. So this is the main thing that I can share about why Kailasa and how we can really go about enriching others with Kailasa. Nithyananda.
Thank you, Nithyananda. Thank you for sharing actually the wide range of opportunities people can learn about Kailasa and immediately take benefit from the e-Kailasha's e-services. And just one point I wanted to add, actually, when it comes to enriching somebody new and having, as the previous example I was giving about wearing basma, the fundamentals of how people know about what people know, common words you need to be able to use when you're enriching somebody new. People know that Hinduism has a concept of reincarnation. People know they know the concept of a soul, that a soul is there inside us. So these are common things that many people will, that other religions also have an understanding, either by the understanding that religion is different, Hinduism different, because they believe in reincarnation, we believe in one life. And they believe in the soul as well. So they may not even know that. We have to say that. We believe in a soul. We believe that, yeah, we are that actually. It's more than just what do you call LED bulb inside me. It is actually a consciousness. It is existence. And the way you can answer the a question about how and why you wear basma. Basma is the ash represents the indivisible, the something that is permanent. Because after something has become ash, it cannot be broken down chemically or physically into anything else. So once something has become ash, it has become permanently that which is the essence of everything. And of course, the permanence of everything is the consciousness itself. So consciousness is me, and I am trying to understand in the process that I am beyond just the body and mind. I am something more than that. I am consciousness, that which pervades me. It is there in everything that is around me. That is Paramashiva. So in the process of me learning that, I learned this ash is something that is a reminder that I am consciousness. So ash is applied on my forehead to remind myself and to declare to the world. Because in Hinduism, we don't just believe in just hiding and believing. We believe in declaration. We believe that what we are, what we believe is something we need to show. Hence, we have so many symbols, so many colors, so much of variety in our tradition, so much display of uniqueness in our tradition, because we're about declaring it. We're about declaring that we are Paramashiva. So in declaring that we are consciousness, we wear and apply the basma on our forehead. And it represents the consciousness, or what you would say soul. But for us, soul is not just individual. It is ever-pervading. It is as expansive as this universe itself. And it is the consciousness. And we use the word conscious. So you take words that are in there listening, take it into redefine it into the way Swamiji's words are. With the words, you define a word Swamiji gives with the words that they use. And that requires a little bit of listening and a conversation. But it is always good to go about this enriching context when you go about in the world. So, say I am representing Hinduism not because I want to follow it, but because I want to show people that they can benefit from it too and open their eyes. It is what it is. It's just ability to help people open their eyes. We should not, as Hindus, have a fear that we may be ridiculed. We will be ridiculed, and we have been ridiculed. That's not new thing for us. But we are the people who, even if we are ridiculed, react with ahimsa, react only with an enriching way. This is our dharma. This is how we are. So let us react that way. And of course, when abuse comes, the necessary precautions have to be taken, necessary defense positions have to be taken. It is not like we're going to be completely shriveled up when somebody has an abuse. But we always come from an enriching point of view to give somebody a good enriching, a good experience about us. That is the thing we want to leave always. Always we want to leave somebody with a good experience about us, because the moment you put Bhasma on, you are representing Swamiji, you're representing Hinduism, you're representing the Supreme Pontiff. So you need to give them a good experience about us, you need to give them an enriching experience about us. So that is a context. And that is a way you can go about it. And anyway, in your life, anybody wants to see, anytime you want to leave somebody, you never want to leave them incomplete. You want to give them something, a good experience about you. We end with Namaste, Nithyanandam. Hope to see you again. Nice, good words. So giving people that good experience is what a good way how we can approach people with good reasons and a good cognitions about Kailasa with their questions. So that is also one example I want to give. And finally, we have Sri Ashutosha. Thank you for waiting. Go ahead and share, introduce a little bit about you and share about how you would go about enriching somebody with powerful cognitions about why they should understand and be a part of Sri Kailasa. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Raja and Maharaj. So yes, my name is Shri Nitya Ashitoshananda. I am born Canadian, studied mechanical engineering technology as well as business and finance a little bit. I was introduced by a classmate while studying in mechanical engineering technology to martial art, which led me to connect to Buddhism and to start to cherish a very strong yearning to experience the guru-disciple relationship, having many dreams of being in the Himalayas with your guru and going through whatever your guru puts you through, for you to basically experience a dimension of life which is very much real, very much available, but very much not known by pretty much anybody. And that really pushed towards this desire. And one thing leading to another, listening to various masters on YouTube, from Buddha to Osho to Ramana Maharshi. And I ended up being introduced to Swamiji by my mother, my biological mother. And yeah, when I met Swamiji, it was like, okay, I heard Swamiji, I read one of his book, and when I was listening to what he was sharing, a part within me was telling me, yes, that's the truth. Many times when Swamiji was saying something in the Science of Living Enlightenment book, Ashtosha really felt like, wow, yes, that's truth. So then Ashtosha felt like, yes, Swamiji has the space which Ashtosha is looking for, and Swamiji can give that space to Ashtosha. So naturally, Ashtosha felt like taking the path of sannyas was definitely, it was the right time, right person, right everything. So from there, he went to India, attended a session program, and then went to the Adinam, to the monastery in Adi Kailash, and got initiated into Krama Brahmacharya and started the journey of being a disciple of Swamiji. So yes, that's a little bit about me. Now, why is Kailasa needed? So one of the main thing which clicks with Ashutosha is, what is the purpose of life? Purpose of life is liberation. Sanatana Hindu Dharma educates you and tells you about the purpose of life. It's to go beyond pleasures and suffering, and experience bliss, moksha, and liberation. So being a foreigner, not knowing anything about Hinduism, Ashtosha felt like learning, understanding the context where it comes from and all that is very important. And one thing which Swamiji gave is the understanding, initially an understanding as well, and it evolved into more and more experiences, but understanding that you are super consciousness, you are Paramashiva, you are in oneness with everything around you. And that is the ultimate nature. That is the way that you can experience and radiate the bliss, which is who you truly are. So having that as the guideline, as the main focus of life, understanding that, see, Swamiji is reviving Kailasa as the authentic Hindu traditional lifestyle, the Sanatana Hindu Dharma. And that is, part of it is an ecosystem. And that ecosystem is very, very, very important. One of the main clicks with which Ashtosha had was that when you are in the space of pure love, in the space of consciousness, you mirror things around you. When you are young and you are in that space of love, the child gets impacted by mainly the parents and perhaps other people who had strong influence on the child at that time. And he creates his own identity and he starts to reflect what he sees, and he becomes that. He associates himself to that and naturally starts to express that. Now, having this basic understanding, we can clearly understand that the surroundings in which you grow up are extremely important, because these are going to define what you're going to become. They're going to replicate that, whatever impacts you in your environment. So Sanatana Hindu Dharma introduces us in various ways. And one of the ways which is really important is that having a human body is a blessing. There are many types of bodies which can be assumed by a soul, by a being, throughout, even on planet Earth, on this Bhuloka, or even in other lokas. So many bodies are available. But the only body which is designed for enlightenment is the human body on the Bhuloka. So that's a fundamental understanding, which is very important for you to understand, like, what you're doing here. So naturally, if you assume a human body, that means that to a certain extent, you decided to move towards moksha. Otherwise, you would not have assumed the human body. So having that as clarity, you need to, Hinduism creates this ecosystem, this lifestyle, which creates the right samskaras inside of you, the right behavior for you to exhaust whatever life negative karma is there, and life positive karma, exhaust all karmas, and for you to come back to that space of pure oneness. So Kailasa is that ecosystem, in which you can grow and in which you can build the right samskaras for you to ultimately, surrender to the Guru and receive the ultimate happening, which is the oneness with Paramashiva, liberation, enlightenment, whatever. So that's one of the main reason from here why Kailasa is needed, because we need that ecosystem, because that's the purpose of life, and only Hinduism has that. So what's the point of everything else if the life is designed for liberation and everything else is not allowing liberation for various reasons? Most of the time, they don't, lack of knowledge about it. And so Hinduism is that. And for that reason, Hinduism has to be, the authentic traditional Hinduism has to be kept alive. And therefore, Kailasa is very much needed. Now, for the second question, how would you go about enriching one of your friends about Kailasa? Yes, it's basically that, giving them the initially understanding and leading them to, receive initiation and getting experience that you are consciousness, that you are bliss, you are beyond pains and pleasures, and there is something beyond, amazing, mystical about life, which is very much real, available, not known by many, but which is the purpose of life. And through Kailasa, you can experience that. And you are blessed to even come to know about this. So that would be one of the major points for Ashutosha to really share about Kailasa and enrich others to get involved and start to drop the life negativity and build the right life positivity actions and behaviors to ultimately experience the moksha, the liberation, the oneness with the Guru, with Paramashiva. Thank you.
Thank you, Shri Asutosha. And thank you. Actually, this point I was been meaning to is coming into my head again and again. And you nicely put it that the purpose of life. It is very important to understand and to give people purpose of life. And actually, just before we started the Vakyartha Sadhas Swamiji's promo was coming, and he said very plainly, the purpose of life is enlightenment. From that context, we must go about enriching anybody and giving them that understanding of it. No matter, okay, fine, forget your religion, okay, do it. But we have to understand now the purpose of your life is enlightenment. You moving from your level of consciousness to a higher level of consciousness. Bhasma helps me do that. The Kailasa system helps me do that. Looking in and understanding the religion deeper and better makes me do that. Understanding dharma and understanding that there are better ways to react to the world and connect to the world than uh, through greed or fear. So in all these ways, we can cognize for ourselves why Sri Kailasa is needed, especially the point reiterated again and again today about the ecosystem. And it's very beautiful that Swamiji has given us this opportunity through Vakyartha Sadhas to get to know in the different ways why this ecosystem is important. And the Vakyartha Sadhas itself is a beautiful ecosystem in itself, where we can be reminded about the truths and about how to live the various life solutions that Hinduism gives, that Swamiji gives us every day. With that, I'd like to thank all of the Maharaj. Sorry.
Yes, Rajan. One more thing I wanted to add is
Please, yeah.
This knowledge that Sanatana Hindu Dharma is that has of the preciousness of the human life. It doesn't waste your life. Kailasa, which is the embodiment of that traditional, authentic Sanatana Hindu Dharma lifestyle, is rooted in the principle that the original Sanatana Hindu Dharma, because it knows the rarity and the sacredness of the happening of assuming the human body, it does not waste your life. The society is created, the ecosystem is created for you to only move towards moksha and not to get distracted by all other possibilities which are completely useless to experience. So that's very important.
Thank you. Thank you again for adding that point. That the
That's a nice way of saying it.
how the ecosystem supports the ultimate purpose, that is enlightenment. Thank you all again for joining us, and let us come together again for tomorrow's Vakyarthas. Let us now get ready to receive Swamiji's darshan in the satsang. Please sit straight. Inhale and exhale as deeply and slowly as possible. Bring your awareness to your Anandagandha. Visualize Swamiji sitting there. And chant and reverberate your whole being with the Mahavakya. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
I bless you all. Let you all open all your three eyes and manifest the powers of Mahasadashiva. Om
Your eyes closed is meditation, connecting with the divine. With your eyes open is darshan. Come, let us all now move from meditation to darshan. Slowly, very slowly, please open your eyes.
சொன்ன சூத்திரோ அது எல்லாமே எங்களுக்கு வேத சாஸ்திரோ